Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangarei District Libraries Radio on Beagle Radio. Oh!
Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai whakarongo mai ki The Shelf. E pūnua pau mai I ngā whare puka puka I Whangarei, I Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. I pāhure koutou I ngā hōtaka me ohotu ki ngā whare puka puka I YouTube.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM, and we're streaming online at beagleradio.co.nz. To catch up on episodes you might have missed, subscribe to the Whangarei District Libraries YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Kia ora, welcome.
Kia ora. My name is Andy. I'm a Outreach Services Librarian.
And my name is Karlie. I'm a Technical Services Librarian. And so what's your role at the library, Andy, as a refresher to those listening? What kind of stuff?
I'm the DVD librarian right now. I buy them, I catalog them, I put them out there for you to check out. Also, I plan and coordinate some events. Yesterday I did Lego Club, and it was great.
Yay! Oh, I'm sorry I missed that Lego Club. I was looking forward to it. What was your theme for Lego Club or challenges?
The King's birthday. So we built castles and we fired catapults at them.
Oh, nice. Darn, I'm extra sad I missed that one. Lego Club is good fun. And as a technical services librarian, I do a bit of cataloguing, primarily the junior fiction, so I get to see all the cool children's illustrated books and things like that. I do some processing and mending of books as well, some acquisitions when the new books comes in, and yeah, that's pretty much me.
And why are we here today?
Well...
that was a rhetorical question.
We had to have fun.
The Shelf is a podcast that promotes library services.
Yep.
And we also discuss literature, we discuss film, we discuss library resources and events, and we also are advocates for libraries everywhere. Totally,
and we thought this was a cool way to be in touch and like an outreach method for our community as well. So it's cool to be able to talk directly to you in this way. Yay!
And I think we're about on episode 45. That's an estimate, so don't quote me on that.
We're somewhere in the 40s. We're creeping up slowly to our half century.
Let me see if I can get the actual number.
I think it's something like 42.
Working on it, it says. Sure you are. We were going to start off this podcast with a bit of a show and tell segment that we like to call Hidden Treasures. So Hidden Treasures can cover anything in the library that is just, well, you found it and it's different. And I've got the number right here. We are on episode 43 now.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, we're going to do, the theme is one book, one jigsaw, and one DVD.
Cool.
And these things that we have found are things that we weren't exactly looking for, but we found them through browsing.
Through browsing or shelving or cataloging or something. We always stumble across some unexpected goodies.
Most deaf. Mind if I start?
Yeah, go for it.
I have a book here. It's a very, very famous book. It's Homer's Odyssey. However, it's illustrated. That doesn't mean it's a graphic novel. That means it has photos of actual artifacts.
Oh, cool.
And places in the Greek Isles, which I think makes this a very immersive book, that it's showing you where this fantastical event took place. And it's also significant, too, because this is obviously one of the most famous works of literature in Western civilization, maybe the earliest I can think of. So the pictures are, I'm flipping through the book right now, they're mostly of the sea and cliffs and the occasional bronze artifact.
Yeah.
The thing to remember about the Odyssey is that this was a story about the ancient world, from the ancient world. So it's old. As for a jigsaw, I don't have it with me because it's on the table at home. I've already played with it. It's Alice in Wonderland, and it's got different themes from the book. You know, the Tea Party, the Mad Hatter, the rabbit with a clock and who's freaking out.
Oh, cool.
Tweedledee, Tweedledum, the Red Queen.
Yeah.
Speaking of classic literature, that's another very famous work. And last is my DVD. It is an Irish film called A Date for Mad Mary. I had never heard of it. I didn't know anything about it. I just saw it and it looked interesting on the shelf. Well, the movie's about a woman who is getting out of prison. And, well, she needs to be a bridesmaid at her friend's wedding. But in order to do that, she needs a date. Well, her nickname is Mad Mary, so it's going to be hard for her to find a date. But, of course, it's kind of like an Irish version of Muriel's Wedding. You see that getting a date is not her main issue.
Oh, okay. So it's like a comedy, you reckon? Dark comedy?
Not really.
No? Drama?
Drama. Some comical stuff, but the movie's pretty serious most of the time.
Okay, I'll have to look that one up.
And those are my hidden treasures.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Andy. I'll do mine in reverse order. So I'll start with, what did you do? DVD. I saw someone check out the Shaun the Sheep DVDs, and I've been following the, what are they called? The Aardman animation studio.
I don't know.
They do all the Shaun the Sheep, Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run.
Oh, sure.
All those ones. And so they do the claymation, and they're so talented. So I've been following them on TikTok. It's so funny. But I do recommend Shaun the Sheep because, yeah, I think there are jokes. It's all like, there's no dialogue. There are jokes for adults in there too. And it's just a very wholesome but funny and British humour thing. So have you not watched Wallace and Gromit or anything?
I saw one episode ever. It's the one where Wallace and Gromit go to the moon because they need cheese. And the moon is, of course, made of cheese.
Yeah, we used to watch Curse of the Were-Rabbit at high school. So that was my introduction. So those movies, I think we have a lot of them, I think. And then Shaun the Sheep, we have TV shows. So, yeah. And jigsaws, I haven't really issued any jigsaws of late from the library, although we've got such an amazing selection and we do have a few literary jigsaws, like Andy has mentioned. I would like to shout out the Te Pai Pai collection, which is located in Te Puanga. So these are wooden jigsaw puzzles with a Te Ao Māori theme. I guess they're aimed at like little children, but I think it's a good way if you're going to check out jigsaws to play with your kids, but sort of introduce these themes. Like there's native birds, there's whares, there's waka and matariki, all these themes you can sort of introduce with the jigsaw to the little ones.
Super.
So I recommend those. So you just have to grab, there's a tree upstairs in Te Puanga with the tags of the jigsaws on them. So you pick the what jigsaw you want and bring it downstairs and we'll issue it to you there.
Okay, I should try that.
Yeah, and my book is a funny one.
Okay.
So when I was, I think, shelving in the New Zealand room, I came across there's this book about paranormal locations in Aotearoa.
Oh, I must see that.
Yeah. So I haven't read it to cover, but the reason why I was drawn to it, it's called Unexplained New Zealand, Ghosts, UFOs, and Mysterious Creatures. And it's by co-authors Julie Miller and Grant Osborne. And when I flicked through it, I found out that it was sort of contributed to by there used to be a show called Ghost Hunt in New Zealand.
Okay.
Which is, it used to be on like TV2 or something. And it was so funny, meant to be scary. But they used to play it straight after Flight of the Conchords, and that's how I remember it. And I used to stay up as a little kid watching it. So I'd watch Flight of the Conchords and then Ghost Hunt, where they went to these different locations that are meant to be haunted. They gave you the history about why it was haunted and who died there or something. And then they'd go back at night time and do a ghost hunt and try and get evidence record evidence of a ghost, and I don't think they ever did, funnily enough.
Wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, so I was looking through like this book about where New Zealand is allegedly haunted, and because New Zealand's such a small country, you sort of know half of them.
Yeah.
So the Civic in Auckland, I already knew that from living in Auckland, but there's apparently a ghost in the clock tower there.
Okay.
And
I'll look for it.
yeah, well, you can actually go on tours of the Civic, so I kind of want to do that just so I can see where the ghost lives.
All right.
St James Theatre in Wellington, the Chateau Hotel in Ruapehu, and a bunch more. So that was my funny find of the library. I'm not a ghost believer. I want to clarify this.
Me neither, actually.
But I love ghost stories, and I think it's quite interesting because there is a historical context of why they think these places are haunted.
Yeah.
And stories about, tragedies in New Zealand and things like that. So that was my funny hidden treasure.
Excellent. Yeah, and we hope to do this more often. Just things we find, because a library is all about browsing, and browsing can be quite fun, the things you discover.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that, Andy. That was a really good idea to bring that one back.
Well, how's the weather outside today?
I think it's a little bit rainy. I think it's starting to hit the rain now.
Yeah.
Yep. So should we?
Let's.
On that note.
On that note.
So smooth.
We have a song we'd like to play called "I Like Rain" by
Woohoo.
the Jean-Paul Sartre Experience.
Cool. Hit it, Andy.
And welcome back. That was "I Like Rain" by the Jean-Paul Sartre Experience. And you are listening to Beagle Radio 88.1 FM, Whangarei, and online at beagleradio.co.nz. If you want to get in contact with the station manager, please email info@beagleradio.co.nz.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. And we've already started our Matariki celebrations at the library, and we'll get into a little bit about how it's kicked off last week very soon. But we'll just read out a little bit about what Puanga Matariki means. So Matariki is the name given by Māori to a cluster of stars, part of a constellation known in Western astronomy as the Pleiades, or Subaru in Japan. The appearance of the stars in the dawn sky in late May, early June marks the start of a new phase of life, the Aotearoa Pacific New Year. While various iwi celebrate Matariki at different times, most festivities begin at the next new moon after Matariki has risen. In Northland, it is called Puanga Matariki. In 2025, this period is from 19th to the 22nd of June. There are two English translations of Matariki. Matariki, tiny eyes, or Mataariki, eyes of God, referring to the eyes watching over the land and its people. The celebration of Puanga Matariki has undergone a revival in recent years, with a growing awareness among New Zealanders of Māori traditions, contributing to their unique cultural identity. Matariki is a growing tradition celebrating people, language, spirituality, and history.
There's on Te Ara, the online encyclopedia, there's an interesting poem I could read. It's very short.
Yes, please.
I gaze up to the stars, to the assembly of Matariki. Captured are my memories of you who have left me behind, tears rippling like springs in my eyes.
Aww.
Let's cite our source. That is by Mihikita Takapua, and it's reproduced in Apirana Tupurangata. This is a long title here, but it's a collection of poems.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. We've had a couple of Puanga Matariki events already, but I'll just read out quickly what other ones we've got going on. So we've got the Mana Wahine Talks, and I think Andy was there last week for the first one. So that was Jiva Napo Downey last week. So these are We've got it's a series of talks with each week a different wahine Māori who are rangatira in Whangarei who have achieved success in their various professions. So all of the women have tribal affiliations with hapu and iwi from Te Tai Tokoro. Entry is free. These are occurring on Thursdays for the next few weeks. I'll just find the time for you. 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So the next one's tomorrow, and that's going to be Dorothy Waitford. So if you're interested in hearing about their experiences and their achievements, come along to Te Puanga upstairs at Whangarei Central Library this week, next week, and the following week.
I'll be there.
Yeah, and I think you might have recorded the previous ones.
I did. I was the cameraman.
Awesome. So there might be an opportunity to catch them online, but we'll watch the space for confirmation on that. There's also the Night Café. So this is a good fun hour of speed round korero where everyone can talk with others in and about Te Reo Māori, and this is for all levels, whether a beginner into Te Reo or if you're fluent. And these are, it's also tomorrow at 11 till 12, so you can come to that first and then come see the Manawahine talk afterwards. So the next 3 weeks at 11 a.m. at Whangarei Central Library in the cafe.
Brilliant.
There's, this one looks cool, a constellation quilt. What would you call this? A group effort in making a patchwork banner for Puanga Matariki, using a variety of textiles to represent the Matariki constellation. This is all ages free entry, also on Thursdays, this time at 2 to 4 p.m. So that one's cool for all the crafty people. And then we've also got Matariki preschool fun times coming up in a couple of weeks, I believe, for the little ones. But last week, we had a very special Matariki celebration, and that was the Night Library.
That's right.
And we're lucky enough to be joined by Verena, part of the Night Library Cafe. What would you call yourself? Project. Yep. Yep. And this is very much your brainchild, I believe. We've had a couple of other successful Night Library events. But hello, Verena.
Hello, Verena.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
My co-creator, Patricia, would be here, but she's got too much to do today. So,
yeah.
Here on behalf of us both.
Oh, thank you. I know you're both really busy with all your various projects you have happening. So the Night Library happened last Thursday, 29th of May. It was our third Night Library event. We're getting to be total professionals at this. So what kind of stuff do we have happening? Can you remember? That far back?
I can, but I also quickly want to say a big thank you to Whangarei District Council for letting us run this event, or supporting us with running this event, to Clark specifically for creating this amazing Puanga Matariki program, supporting the community. And of course to the library and all you wonderful librarians for, taking the idea and just running with it and bringing your own cool ideas into it. And also, we are so lucky to live in a country where we get to celebrate the beautiful Puanga Matariki. And I just want to mihi and thank you, everyone who holds up that beautiful, cultural knowledge and fights for kind of keeping it and has fought for it in the past. And just the richness we get out of it, especially me as an immigrant, kind of recognizing that we're so lucky to be able to celebrate that with you. Yeah. So yes,
well said.
So I just want to say that first.
Yeah,
because
thank you.
I feel like that needs to be acknowledged. And also acknowledgements, I'm not sure if the mic just worked, but acknowledgements to my beautiful partner in crime, Patricia Santos, who without her, the Night Library would not be wouldn't
Would not
exist.
be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, what did we have?
We had lots
on?
happening, didn't we?
Yes. So together with Moana, your Te Puawananga librarian, we decided to focus on Te Puawananga as a resource and community space for celebrating Puanga Matariki and Te Ao Maori and Matauranga Maori. So we were very lucky that she was able to offer workshops on how to make kites and how to make puti puti out of korari. And then we had Matua Fred Tito coming in, talking about Puanga Matariki, talking about Titiriti, and just blessing the space and, just sharing his knowledge. We had that. We had the wonderful Tima coming in with, I have to look that up. What was the name of that? Kohiwa. So that was a Matariki art installation. Was a series of short movies. Maori sci-fi drama is the name she gave it, or the title it goes under. It's short movies about all the Matariki stars in the star cluster, and about the people associated with it. And unfortunately, she was a bit off in a corner. So if you hear this, Tima, we are very sorry. We'll do better next time and make this a bit more visible. But then we had lantern making, coloring in, all Matariki themed. We had Hekakano, the seed, your library of things, had cry cut machine.
Yeah.
Did we ever?
We did.
It's cry cut, not cricket.
I think I think it is cry cut, but I tend to say cricket machine. I'm not sure if I'm just being too American with that.
Yeah.
Watching all those YouTube clips. But yeah, we had the
sure.
kakano, what we called it, I guess, a maker space.
Yeah.
So we had the little Indian sphero bolt gadgets going, so the little robots, and that was a hit with the kids and their parents throughout the whole event. So yeah,
that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then we had board games. We had the cafe was open. Thank you for that, Joseph. We really appreciate it. And we had music. We had the Lavendrill Quartet playing a string instrument quartet. You did so well. Thank you so much, Lana and the others.
Amazing.
We had James Fenwick playing, who's an amazingly talented artist with his solo artist with his
he
guitar.
was so smooth with that. The medley he did from song to song was just so smooth. He's so talented. Yeah.
And then, of course, we had the Opera North Choir coming in and singing a few beautiful waiata for us. We had a few tears because people were so moved by it. It just sounded angelic, really.
It sounded
was
beautiful,
amazing.
echoing through the library. Yeah, I almost cried.
Yep. Yeah. And then, of course, we had the whole art installation space that Alan Squires and Astrid Kelly were involved in and ran with the Typorium Writers Corner, where we had typewriters up where people can share their thoughts on the Matariki principles and kind of create a shared story together. An art installation about Mount Manaya and beautiful kind of Whangarei heads artworks that you can shift around. We had the postcard tiny story competition. And we had, I think, 17 entries to that. People just writing the most beautiful. So I had to cry when I read through those because we had some really amazing short stories, just what fits on a postcard. And we still need to decide on a winner, and that will be tough.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
So, yeah. And then in general, Patricia, again, mihi to you. Patricia did so much work. She's the mastermind behind all the decorations, or most of the decorations. And she put so much work into deciding what goes where and sourcing materials. So it just looks very cozy, and like we wanted to create a space for social introverts, where you can connect with others, but you don't have to. You can just connect with yourself and just read and enjoy being in a space where other people are at the same time, but not necessarily interacting. So it was just a beautiful space to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think you definitely achieved that, what you were going for. So it was a lot of effort into one evening's worth of events, but it was totally worth it. We kept getting feedback through the night. Can you do this all the time? Although we kind of want to keep it special, maybe not.
We need to keep
times
it special because
for our sanity.
Exactly. The resources, the time that we put in just on a volunteer basis.
Yeah.
So this is the Night Café is run by me and Patricia just as a volunteer, kind of project of our hearts type of thing. So,
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Honestly, the amount of mahi you put into it is amazing. We're always blown away. And then you're straight on to the next thing in your ongoing projects. But so thanks again.
Well, again, thank you. So I have to mention, we had you, Karlie, we had LJ, of course, Cosima, who's kind of our main contact at the library. We had Sana. We had Moana, of course. We had Nicola there on the night. We have had in the past Ben and some amazing storytelling. And of course, note that there was a sensory room, thanks to LJ and Zana, who always prepare that very well. And so all of you bring your own ideas, and it's just so amazing how it comes together, and then becomes this beautiful thing. And of course we couldn't do that without the library, because it happens in the library. And because both Patricia and me love the library as a space that is, one of the only space where you can go that is free to use, accessible for everyone and anyone, especially in winter and in bad weather. So shout out to libraries in general and community spaces. They're just invaluable, because where else would we go? And also, where else do we get access to so much beautiful knowledge and just other services, because you do so much more than just books or just DVDs, or there's so much more that people can access through the library. So,
well, thank you.
Just love libraries.
That. Hard agree. Love the compliments. Keep them coming. I totally agree about that. And that's why I think the Night Library is so special as well, with things like the sensory room aimed at neurodivergent people, where they might have otherwise been overwhelmed in the main space of the library. Things like that. Little things like that we like to do to make our space accessible for everyone. So thank you for mentioning that. I think we've talked about quite a lot the rundown. No, that's good.
Wanted to talk about Sandbox.
The next big thing?
Next big thing. Wait, is there anything we still need to talk about when it comes to the Night Library?
Well, what was the highlight for you? I felt like I was downstairs with the Hikakuno collection, so I missed a lot of the good stuff happening upstairs.
I think a slightly awkward highlight for me, because I'm a very awkward person sometimes, was the lantern parade. Because I kind of hoped that it wouldn't have to happen, because the weather was bad, and I didn't really get time to plan it out. But then we had this whole table of motivated kids that wanted to go for the lantern parade, and I thought, oh no, now I have to provide a lantern parade. So we put some Matariki Wailta on and just went through the library slowly with the lanterns. And that was awkward, but also very wholesome. And I think the other favorite thing was just seeing my friends enjoying the space. And just, it's just so magical to have this space at night. Just the visuals of it. And all the little lights everywhere, and just being able to have those few hours where you're just free to, you know, hang out in the night in the library. How amazing is that? I think the vibe is one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah,
really.
that's what it comes down for a lot of people. It's just good energy, positivity, togetherness. It was just great. Yeah, a good vibe, as you say. And I can't wait till the next time, but we'll see. Watch this space.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe after we've had a long rest after.
Yep.
Cool. So thank you for that. Maybe we should talk about Sandbox next. So what is Sandbox first and foremost?
So Sandbox is our pop culture festival and nerd fest in the north. It's the biggest pop culture, and at the moment only pop culture festival in the north. So you can imagine it like a mini Armageddon, where everyone comes together that enjoys anything pop culture related, manga, anime, arts, books, comics, cosplay, model building, games of any type, magic, fantasy, anything that is connected to whimsical play in a way.
Oh, I love that.
I'm always about, I think that playfulness is something we all need to do to just for our well-being. It often is kind of connected to, you should at some point grow up and, become an adult.
And we say no.
Exactly. Because I think part of adulting, is choosing to have fun as well when you can. Like, everybody please, you're supposed to have free will and choice. Why would you choose to live your life without having any fun? So there you go. That is my, I don't know, vent of the day.
Yeah. So. We should have a vent of the day segment on our show.
All right. I'll vent.
Yeah.
If you read a comic, it's still reading.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think just, doing what you enjoy, and that is what Sandbox is about for the slightly nerdier population. And it's the space where we see so many connections happen. And because there's a lot of bubbles. People always talk about bubbles here because Whangarei and the surrounding, like Northland, is very introverted. People don't necessarily come out. They like their own time alone. But that also means that sometimes people feel really disconnected and like there isn't a nerd community here, which is not true. There are so many nerds here and so many people who enjoy talking about fantasy books and comics and how to make your best cosplay yet. And Sandbox basically is the space where everybody can come together and do that. And it's also fully volunteer run. I don't know why we do this to ourselves, but...
you're amazing.
Thank you. Amazing and exhausted. Just need to add that. As every year, the library is on board with that as well, because you are all amazing.
I think Milani, our teen services librarian, is going to be the main person leading the library group with Sandbox. And I know she's very excited. Yeah. So Sandbox Fandom Festival is on 12th of July at 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. at Forum North. Tickets seem to be available already on the website, sandboxfanfest.co.nz. In the past, I think, what has the library done? We've done badge making.
We've done magic wand making. Zine making.
Oh, cool. I love zines. I think we've brought the mobile bus before.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did.
And quite a bit of dress up as well, from what I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, librarians love a chance to dress up. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Brilliant.
Cool. And do we know any other stalls or activities happening yet, or is it still early days?
Yeah, we're working at the moment very hard. Shout out to Rachel on the Fairy Garden.
Cool.
Because we had some very disappointed teenagers coming in last year and saying, "Oh, this is the Fairy Garden," and I just couldn't stomach that. The disappointment of teenagers
Oh, no.
is like the lowest it can.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're working hard on the Fairy Garden. We anxious nerds to make a few teenagers happy,
Oh, cool.
and ourselves. We are potentially using the library as a space for board games and Dungeons and
cool.
Dragons games, because we're absolutely maxed out in Forum North. It's too small for all the stall holders. We have a wait list that is really long for stalls at the moment. We have people coming up from Wellington to display their art and their the stuff they make and sell. People from Tamaki Makaurau coming up. People from the far north, actually, Kaitaia, coming down. And that's exactly what we wanted, really. People to come and connect, authors, comic creators, people who print 3D things. Shout out to Questionable Research Labs, my beautiful neurodivergent home here, our maker space, where we can do all sorts of game making and robot making. And QRL, Questionable Research Labs, has supported us from the start. And Kevin, thank you so much for always being excited about the idea. So we're really excited to just have this whole day where people can come in, make zines, kind of try out. No, I don't think they can try out, but we will have some sword fighting, but just to watch. We'll have panels with authors and artists. We've got a whole stage program, all kind of nerdy. We've got obviously lots of D&D games, board games, anything in that regard, Warhammer, trading card games. Shout out to Northland Hobby Store and Dave and Philip and Min and Eats, of course, from Card Merchant, who will come and offer games. And a whole lot of other community organizations that just want to get involved. Engine, of course, they'll run our digital gaming side and just spaces to hang out. So there will be lots of little, miniature painting workshops and things you can do throughout the day. So and of course we have all our beautiful stall holders that sell everything from their own art to dice, through comics, clothing. Anything that is pop culture and nerdy will be there. We will have a second-hand stall where you can actually sell your second-hand things, and shout out to Matt for organizing that, who's been part of the team from the start. So it will be big.
Yeah, sounds
And
big, and
We're slightly intimidated, but of course we'll do it anyway. So
Yeah, I love that. It's the best attitude. It's going to be incredible. If I'm not working it, I'll probably want to come along just to experience it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to promote coming up in the next wee while, or are you just focusing on Sandbox for the next month? Or no, you've got lots happening.
June is National Volunteer Month.
Oh, yay.
And with the National Volunteer Week. And so we've got a few volunteer celebrations coming up that we will
Nice.
promote and invite people to. Because volunteers, often the only thing they get for their volunteering is is thanks and the opportunity to, find new friendships and build new skills. Actually, you can get a lot out of volunteering, but it's
Yeah.
usually not money, because that's the whole point of volunteering, I guess. But we'll have a few events around that
Oh,
to say
awesome.
thank you to all our volunteers. And thanks to all the Night Library volunteers and all the Sandbox volunteers, because without you, there wouldn't be community events, like any of those wouldn't exist.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you to all our volunteers. And if they're interested, if people listening are interested in becoming a volunteer, where would they go?
They can go to volunteeringnorthland.nz. That is actually my paid work. So, and we help people find volunteer roles, and we help organizations find volunteers. Because you also work with a lot of volunteers in the library, eh?
Yeah.
And they often do shelving.
Shelving is the main thing that they do, and that we really, really, really appreciate them doing. As you can imagine, we get thousands of books returned every day, and we have only so many hands on deck. So, yeah. So maybe we should give a round of applause to all the volunteers in Whangarei. You're amazing.
Yeah, and we won't just clap for you, we will also give you food at our events. So
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So, do we have a song recommendation from anyone to play at the end of the show?
I just listened to the last Devin Townsend concert. Devin Townsend, one of the most amazing musicians that have ever lived. But also, since we are, doing Puanga Matariki, maybe Ngakano by a Shapeshifter. That is one of my most favorite songs ever.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll line that up for the end of the show. Anything you want to wrap up with, Andy?
Yes, actually, I spoke to LJ, who was also at the Night Library, and I'd like to play some of their highlights as well.
Oh, yes, please.
It's about 4 minutes, but
Perfect.
it's a pretty good rundown.
Awesome, cool. So yeah, LJ was the brains behind the sensory room, especially at the Night Library, and also they ran the library tours. That's one thing I forgot to mention.
I forgot about them. I'm so sorry, LJ.
So yeah, LJ was taking people around the library, showing them lots of tips and tricks and where to find things in the library, showing them the catalogue, maybe a little bit behind the scenes, and I know that was really appreciated. So here we go. We'll throw it to LJ, fellow host of the Shelf.
What are a couple of your highlights from the Night Library?
One of my favorite things about the Night Library is the way that it brings all ages of the community together. There's always every age group, from the youngest in our community to some of the oldest in our community. And there's not many events that you see around that successfully intermingle people in that way. That's one of my favourite aspects. The first Night Library we did, and this most recent one, I've done library tours, and it's really the first time I did them, I wasn't sure what people would want to hear. Like, did they just want book recommendations? But what I learned is that our community is really keen to actually hear what goes on behind the scenes. How we decide to buy books, and how we organise the library, what different stickers mean. A lot of users, a lot of people said to me last night, for example, that they come to the library quite often. They thought that they knew a lot about the library, but doing the tour, they realised that they kind of just know their areas that they usually gravitate to, and so it was interesting to them to find out more about other things that they haven't interacted, or even services like our He Kakano collection that we had on display, that we were showcasing, and they were really excited to see these new things, new initiatives that we were doing, and of course this time was particularly special because it was the Puanga Matariki edition of the Night Library, and yeah, it was a beautiful opportunity to showcase Te Pō Wānanga and the work that Moana, our Māori Services Librarian, does in that space as well. The other really amazing thing last night, so from the inception of the Night Library, we've had, we call it the sensory room, but I suppose it would really be more accurate to call it a low sensory room, and it was something that I was really passionate about including in all of our Night Library events as a way of including people that might be neurodivergent or that just might need space for time out. You know, they want to enjoy an event. But like, I know for myself, having ADHD, sometimes things can get overwhelming and you might just go home, or so it's a space that's still part of the event but that people can go to, and we usually have bean bags and selection of weighted and non-weighted blankets and sensory toys that people can stim with, and they can bring their own headphones, and it's low light, and it's usually well used during the events. But last night we got at the end of the event, Zana, our colleague, came up to me and said, "Alge, look at this," and we had a note from a mum, and it said, I'm gonna read. I took a photo of it, so I'll read it out. It said, "Dear library team, thanks for an amazing event, especially the sensory room. It made it a great night and an accessible event for my neurodivergent boy," which just really touched for all of us, because that was the intention behind always including that aspect of the event into it. So even if just one person can engage in something that maybe it would have been harder or even possibly not possible for them to engage with otherwise, then that's a huge accessibility win. So
okay.
Long live public libraries.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we're back. Long live public libraries indeed.
Well said, LJ.
And, well, you've been listening to The Shelf on Beagle Radio, 88.1 FM. Please, you may find us on our YouTube page, the Whangarei Libraries YouTube page. You will also see links on Facebook. And press like.
Like and subscribe.
Write a comment. Yep, send us an email. Tell us something in person. We love it.
Come say hi at the library. We always love to hear from you guys.
Well, that's all for now, folks.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.